Maddie from Diaries of a Farmhouse, and welcome back to my channel. It is actually very early in the morning, and I'm gonna have to leave in like 20 minutes. Hopefully I can get this done in that time. So, hopefully you guys are all having a great morning. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. It would be greatly appreciated, and check out my other videos. If you have video suggestions, you can drop them in the comments below, and I will take a look at them. So, today we're talking about overwatering and root rot, the signs of overwatering, how to identify root rot, and how to treat it. I'm just going to kind of put it all in one video. So, some signs you are overwatering. It would be things like soggy soil, soil that maybe smells bad, fungus, like an excess number of fungus gnats can sometimes be a sign of overwatering. Mold on the soil, fungi on the soil, your plant is starting to like maybe get kind of soggy and droopy, it's getting yellow leaves, it's getting black spots on the leaves. So there's a lot of signs that your plant may have overwatering or root rot. So the main signs of root rot, something that's going on with the roots because of your overwatering, would be yellow leaves. It would be like dark black spots on the leaves. That could be a bacterial infection in the roots. The leaves are sagging and they're not crispy, but they're kind of mushy and soft. Maybe your stem is turning black and kind of mushy. So those are just some things to look for when you think maybe your plant has root rot. They also look pretty similar when they're underwatered, but I will say in my experience, when the plants are underwatered, the yellow parts will turn crispy and not stay like yellow or soggy, and the leaves maybe will start to curl, they'll start to become more of a dull color. So there are some differences when you're underwatering, though they can be pretty similar. So I have this Addisonii that obviously I had too close to the window because it has some frozen leaves. But anyway, I noticed that along with some of the healthy leaves, it does have some really healthy leaves. Some of them were starting to turn yellow. And I cut off some of the ones that had the black dots on them, but if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that. So it did have some crispy tips too, but I think those came after I treated it for root rot, because when I did open up the root, there were some roots in there that were not looking so good. So I'll be using this as an example of a plant that is being treated for root rot. So usually what I'll do is if I notice that my soil is soggy, maybe my plant is showing signs of yellowing, kind of mushiness, anything like that, I will take the plant out of its pot and I will assess the roots. For a lot of plants, this is pretty easy. With this Philodendron Sellum, she's looking a little sad because she had a root rot. She was starting to yellow and it kind of look a little rough. And so I looked in the roots and she was so root bound that it was hard for me to tell where the root rot was coming from, because there were rotted roots on the bottom, but not as many as I thought. So I did clean up the root ball on that one, just to take out any of the infection, and then I also soaked it with a hydrogen peroxide mix. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to see what's going on, but for the most part, root rot is pretty noticeable. So when I take my plant out and I'm looking at the roots, most roots will be plump and most of them will be white. Certain plants like Dracaenas and corn plants will have orange colored roots, but plump, healthy looking roots is what you're looking for. If they have root rot, the roots will sometimes have a weird smell. They'll be kind of like mushy, which sounds really gross, but they do get mushy. And then if it's an older case of root rot, or you've recently let your plant dry out and it had root rot, the outer casing of the root will kind of just like slip off at the end, and then you'll be left with like this little fibrous centerpiece of the root that is a sign of root rot. So, if you've identified that your plant has root rot, then you can start treating it. I've actually had a lot of luck treating plants with root rot. This one, it does look like it's coming back. This top part looks like it's going to put out a leaf maybe. But I did order some pon, so I'm really thinking about cutting this back and then putting this top part in some pon to try to start a new plant and let this recover. But so when I'm treating a plant with root rot, I will remove pretty much all of the soil if possible. I will then clip off and clean up the parts that have root rot, because it will continue to spread if you leave it in like uncut. If you just don't do anything with it and replant your plant with the root rot, it'll still continue to spread because it's already infected the roots. So when you take it out, you're going to want to cut just above where the root rot has started in your roots. Remove any bits that have died back. This may make your plant a little sad, but overall it will encourage your plant to put out healthier roots and prevent the rot from spreading. So it is a good thing. I mean, not that you have root rot, because that sucks, but trimming back the roots will help your plant overall to recover. So once you've done that and you've cleaned up the soil, then usually I will rinse the roots in hydrogen peroxide, because it will kill that bacteria, any left bacteria on the roots. And then I will put it in fresh soil. That part is super important because the bacteria can hang out in your soil and then just reinfect the roots. So put it in fresh soil. I've also liked putting my plants back in nursery pots, just because I think it's a little bit easier to monitor soil levels. So this one I just watered not too long ago, but as you can see, I started treating this maybe like a week ago, and she's already got like a fresh root coming out of the hole down here. So I think this one will definitely recover. She's looking real good as far as like new foliage and such. So so that's usually the way I treat root rot. With this one, I didn't rinse the roots with root rot. I did wash them and clean them up. But when I repotted it, I then took a hydrogen peroxide mix of 2 cups to 1 cup. So 2 cups water, 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide, and then saturated the soil so that it would treat any bacteria that was left in the roots or the soil. So she is still pretty droopy. Hopefully it'll recover, but it looks like she will, but we'll see. But I would not do hydrogen peroxide rinse too often, because it will start to burn the roots. So it's kind of like a one-time thing. Let it kill the bacteria and then continue taking care of your plant the way it needs to be. Maybe cut back on watering. Research how much how much water your plant needs. And if you need tips or tricks about watering, I can put my plant watering video in the, I think it's called an eye, that little like thing that pops up on the top of the video, so that you can watch that. Don't be discouraged if your plant has root rot. It happens to all of us. I have had to learn a lot of lessons about watering because I was very overzealous when I first started, and I didn't know what root rot was, and so I thought my plants were drying out, and so I watered them again, and it just kept spreading and getting worse. And then I thought maybe they had black spot, because root rot can cause black parts on the leaves, and so then I devastated my plants and cut them back and treated them, and it was just a mess. So definitely know what you're treating and research it before you actually start treating your plants, because don't do what I did, because it was a mess. So, but yeah, it's not a death sentence for your plant if you catch it early enough. You can definitely treat it. Plants are so resilient that, I mean, they're just amazing. And so when my plants get root rot, of course it kills my soul a little bit, but I know that treating them the way I've told you will most of the time bring them back. So I'm going to add on a couple things to prevent overwatering and root rot. So definitely research your plants and how much water they're taking in. Keep an eye on the soil. Make sure that it's not super saturated, soggy, any of that. If your plant isn't showing signs of root rot or damage, and you just notice that the water's soggy, you're getting that mold and fungi on the top, then just let it dry out, and it will kill those things growing in the soil. You can also change out the soil and put fresh soil in and cut back on your watering regimen. Also, make sure that your plants aren't in too big of pots. So I had this one in here, and it was doing really good, but I wasn't paying attention to how much moisture was in the bottom of this pot. And you can kind of see where the water was like sitting too much on the bottom. And then I just kept watering it. So that's how this ended up with root rot. But just keep an eye out for things that are happening in your soil and on your plant, and then decide if you need to cut back on your watering or not, and if you need to treat your plant. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I have covered everything. So how to identify soggy soil or overwatering and root rot, how to treat root rot, and how to prevent overwatering. And then I'll put the other video in the eye. So, listen, I finished early enough that I'm not late to where I'm going. So, that's cool. So, hopefully, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, leave them down below. If you like this channel, subscribe. And if you hit the bell notification, it will tell you every time that I upload a new video. Please like, share, comment, do your thing. And follow me on my Instagram at mad.plants, MADD.plants. And then also you can check out our shop page at diariesoffarmhouse.shop, where we sell plant and pet accessories as well as earrings and stickers. And we're hoping to expand our collection to home decor and also clothing. So if you don't want to miss out on any updates from our shop page, go to diariesoffarmhouse.com and subscribe to our newsletter. That way you don't miss out on any product launches or updates as to when we will be going to farmers markets locally. So check that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye. Good. Come here.